as a shippy, is MBA still relevant if you want to stay in shipping, or is it handy if you want to switch totally from shipping to an outside sector?
Right. MBA to most people they feel it's the panacea. आपने MBA कर लिया तो आपकी जिंदगी बन गई. So they feel MBA is their aim, not as part of their journey.
What is the most challenging part for a seafarer to transition into shore? What is like that mindset blockage which keeps coming? That kaise karna hai, where to go, what is that?
While you are sailing, almost everything is either black or white. And over here in the shore, almost everything is grey. The most difficult part in the transition is dealing with the grey.
Niche courses which we are talking about, some recommendations which you want to give, that these are the top 10 courses you should look at. Probably it will convert you into a shore-based job.
In India, for professionals with experience, about more than 4 or 5 years of experience, there are not many good courses into shipping, ports, logistics, supply chain.
Data analytics and IT. So we all keep hearing not the hype, but it is actually coming, the IT boom and the technology coming forth, AI, all that buzzwords, everything. What is it that a seafarer should look into? What is it that you have experienced, and what is it that you are now solving?
The most relevant skill that a company needs from us is a person who understands shipping and a person who understands a bit about data analysis. What can happen if an IT guy, if a coder does this? So then they can work together very well. That is, if you know what you want to do, you will achieve it. The most difficult thing is people do not know what they want to do. We try and help them over it.
Welcome back to the KSN show. If you are a seafarer from the GP rating background, or as an officer, or as an engineer, or perhaps a cadet, this is perhaps the most important video which you want to carefully watch. The topic is the famous question: how to join a shore job. Now we have Captain Gaurav from Sea and Beyond, who is going to decode the top courses which you should pursue, the things which you should not do, and of course the placement records of the various courses. This is perhaps something which you would want to even share with your friends, because the famous question, like I said, is always asked. So taking you straight into the podcast, don't forget to subscribe to the channel first. And now bringing to you all Captain Gaurav. Captain Gaurav, welcome to the KSN show, sir.
Thank you.
How are you today?
All well, thanks. How about you?
I'm good, sir. It's actually an honor because we've been following you since a long time, and you are tackling a question which we all have. It's a very burning question, and since the time I was a cadet, I also think how to transition into a shore job and what are the opportunities. So today is going to be that decoding of the entire segment, and I want you first to introduce to the audience a bit of your background so that they understand what all various roller coasters you've come from.
Yep. A pleasure to be here, Karan, with you. Sure. And honestly, this problem statement has been there for time immemorial, right? And this people have liked to tried to solve it, but it wasn't happening, and that's the reason why I got into it. A bit about myself. So 13 years at sea, 97 I started as a cadet in SCI, went to Bergeson, Shell, Genmar, then left in 2010 with MSI, master about 16 odd months sea time. And then, like everyone does, or used to do at least, I took the first opportunity which came my way.
Okay.
Only thing which I was clear was what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to become a marine superintendent for whatever reasons, but that's what I didn't want to become, right? So I got an opportunity to get into ports and logistics consulting with a company called British Maritime Technology.
Okay.
There for about 5 years, 4.5 years. And there was a burning question which a lot of my friends used to ask me. I transitioned when I was about 29, 30 and it was fairly early, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 29, 30. I am 30 since second mate.
I know, you're lucky probably. So one of the questions which a lot of people used to ask me is, hey, Gaurav, तूने तो कर लिया transition, मैं कैसे आऊँ? मैं क्या करूँ? कहाँ जा सकता हूँ, क्या हो सकता है, right? And I didn't have an answer to it,
Right.
but this was something which was always rolling in my mind. And so then 4.5 years in this company, and I thought, my learning had stopped essentially.
Right.
Then I thought I have to do something else, and then I thought, let me prepare for MBA.
Okay.
I wanted to take about 6 to 8 months of break, prepare for GMAT, and then go for an MBA. And while I was preparing it, you can't be studying 10, 12 hours, especially at that age. I just couldn't, right? And then I thought कि साथ में कुछ तो करते हैं, and then this problem which was rolling around my mind is what I thought, let me try and answer it. So that's when I started C and Beyond, which the whole and soul mission was to help mariners and now maritime professionals take a well-informed professional decision.
Okay.
So I started C and Beyond.
Right.
I went and did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. For whatever reason, I got an opportunity to work with IBM. I still don't know why. But to me, it was like, they're going to teach me technology.
Absolutely.
I'm going to learn and I'm going to get paid. So why not?
Of course.
So I stayed with IBM for about 4 years, learned a lot of project management skills, data analytics skills,
Right.
how IT works. And then came a time when I thought, I have to go on my own. So then I came fully into C and Beyond, and been here for about only into C and Beyond about 4.5 years now.
Fantastic. So we've got someone who has come from the marine background, then into MBAs, logistics, IT, data, right, from IBM, and now an entrepreneur, startup owner. So lot of things are coming in my head. But first, I want to just decode the first basic problem which we are all trying to answer. What is the most challenging part for a seafarer to transition into shore? What is like that mindset blockage which keeps coming? That kaise karna hai, where to go, what is that? So now tell us, sir.
Okay, so I think number one is awareness. Most of the seafarer, they do not know what all they can do, right? So that awareness was never there, right? Second is, why do you want to shift, right? Now, a lot of people think they'll get more family time when they shift ashore. That's not true.
Thank you for decoding that. Yes.
So the main reason why anyone needs to shift ashore is for learning, for growth. Money will follow, right? Third, I think, and people may say it's the most important thing, but third, in my view, is the remuneration. We all know the remuneration ashore at the starting is not, you cannot match the sailing salaries.
I mean, for your time as a master, you must be getting at least 6-7 lakhs per month. And when you switched, do you want to tell?
It was 18 lakhs.
18 lakhs per annum.
Per annum.
So that comes down to around 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs per month maximum.
No, 1.5 lakhs per month.
1.5, sorry. 1.5. So from 6-7 to 1.5. So I think that's a mindset blockage first. But of course, if you look at it in these times, the expenses also increased.
Correct.
And inflated prices. Shipping, of course, is not adjusted to the inflated prices.
Correct.
But I guess that has become even more tough to transition into. Okay. So these are some of the points which I think also I relate to. But what are the greatest fears which you also faced while transitioning? Because for me, personal fear first is that number one, the salary will immediately drop down. And I think most of us will go through that. And second is that block mindset ki my job is only limited to navigating a ship. How will I get a job in a corporate setup having this skill set? Right, sir?
Correct.
Do you agree with that, or do you now have changed that perspective?
Okay. So in my view, sailors, mariners, they have the skills. It's just that they are not aware that they have the skills. Right?
Beautifully put.
So I'll tell you one thing, that while you are sailing, almost everything is either black or white, right? And over here in the shore, almost everything is gray. Yeah. So the most difficult part in the transition is dealing with the gray, staying in the gray forever. And so that's the reason why if you see a lot of people who transition, they also leave in the first 3 to 4 months because
Right.
they're not able to understand.
So can we decode this gray a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. So let me give you a couple of examples. Now, on ship, there is a hierarchy, there is a chain of command. You know? And each one of us are aware what is expected of us and how do we go about doing it.
There's a procedure always.
There is a procedure. Yes. There is SMS, ISM,
Absolutely.
there are for everything now
Yeah,
in
I
shipping.
know.
There is a
Even going
process.
to bathroom has some kind of a protocol.
Absolutely. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, when you come ashore, so for example, if you get into a sales job, this year we had X, next year they'll say 1.5X. Figure it out how do you want to do it, right?
Just no procedure, no steps, just go do it.
Just do it. There's a number which comes with some logic, but essentially at the core of it, it's a gut because the market is doing this. We're going to go and do this, right? There's a new thing which we feel is coming, which you try and back it with numbers, but you got to do this, right? Now, how do you go about doing it? And especially when mariners come ashore, they are at a middle management to senior management level, right?
Right.
They are expected to make things happen, right?
Directly, you're in it.
Correct.
Do it.
And make it happen. Now, which means that, so for example, when I shifted ashore,
Yep.
I was in a consulting role, which means I had to tell people what to do.
Oh, it was related to shipping. So
it was
still okay.
to ports and logistics.
Okay.
So I did a lot of studies and that's how I figured it out.
Right.
But not all problems in consulting, the consultant himself or herself knows. Right. So you have to figure it out.
Yes.
You have to think on the go and then make things happen.
Right.
So that's something which we have it inside us as all mariners, but we are probably not. We have not been doing it.
Absolutely. I think it's just a lack of experience of that. Of course, we go to like troubled waters at times, but we still have a set process ki, okay, the storm is at this, you go to this quadrant of the sector and you'll pass clear. But like you said here, in fact, just thinking about it in my experience also, like you said, this year I started something, now next year I want to reach that number and I don't know where to even start from. And I think that's what we are trying to relate here, right? You don't know where to start from.
Correct.
And we as humans always have the fear of unknown and taking a new step.
Absolutely.
So it's a human problem, not problem, it's an inbuilt thing, I guess, because of evolution over time.
Correct.
So that's for us even a greater step that, black and white, straight down, figure it out, where to start.
Right. Absolutely.
And today's where to start the transition process. Exactly. We're grateful to have you because exactly for this, that you've been there, done that. And something again coming to my mind, sir. When you transition, the family life definitely takes a hit, right? That's why I was asking one of my friends who's already transitioned that what is the greatest setback you faced? He said age. And why he said that? Because all the people in his academy, the MBA academy, were 24, 23, and they've got more energy than a 29-year or 30-year-old seafarer.
Correct.
So he said, I was always in that boot that I'm underconfident. These guys are young. They'll figure it out. Actually, that was not the case. But did the same thing happen to your perspective in your journey?
Absolutely. And that's what I tell a lot of mariners that, see, we are like a kuein ka mendak, right?
Good one, yes.
So we don't know what's happening outside. So because we are unaware of the outside world, we ourselves are not so very confident about what's happening. So when I got into MBA, I had the same perspective. First of all, I was always, wondering what do these millions of people in IT do?
Right.
And 70% of my class wasn't from the IT background.
And so what was your age that time?
I was 35.
35.
So when I went in, I was like, I don't know whether I'll be able to succeed, whether I'll be able to, cope up with all of this.
Absolutely.
But 1.5 months down the line, in my college, there is an election. Right?
Okay.
And the election is for one of the most influential positions in the batch or in the campus.
Right.
It's called a recruitment secretary.
Okay.
So you essentially are responsible for the recruitment of the entire batch, right?
Oh,
and
you being the student of that batch
yeah,
itself.
yeah. So that's how the at least IIMs, that's how it works, and then IIM Ahmedabad, or in fact all the IIMs, it works that way, right? So I was a little hesitant whether I should go there, whether I should stand up for the elections or not. But then I thought let's take a jump, and then I kind of started doing my canvassing in my own way, right?
Absolutely.
And I was surprised, and honestly, I was surprised when I saw that I was elected as the recruitment secretary by my batch and by almost double the votes that the second person got.
Oh.
So that's when, I had a lot more confidence in it.
कर सकते हैं.
Absolutely, कर सकते हैं.
Right.
है हमें, it's just that you are unaware कि बाकी लोग क्या हैं. तो वो उसका एक
Beautiful. It's a good anecdote for also from your life. In fact, sir, two things which us seafarers, and I have personally experienced it with my friends also, they have that sense of responsibility of a thing.
Absolutely.
And that's because inbred, because on ship we don't have anyone else.
Correct.
And second was ability to adapt fast because of the changing fashion.
Correct.
Only problem which you are always and rightly pointing out is awareness. Like you said, Kuwe ka mendek, we are a fish inside a tank.
Correct.
We don't know what air looks like. We don't know what trees are.
Correct.
But saying that, one of my friends did an MBA. He thought that he was special as he came from a diverse, unconventional background. But when he reached there, he was like, यहाँ से तो people have come here from NASA. People are here from highest doctor positions. So that myth got busted because I don't know, I have not done it yet, but I also felt, my background is very unconventional. In your case, sir, did you also have a similar experience?
Yes. So it's the way we look at people, it's also how they look at us. Right?
Absolutely.
So there was a curiosity for others to know that what is merchant navy. First of all, navy, merchant navy, your people still get confused, and
still they will be confused.
they will be confused.
Absolutely.
In fact, after seeing a lot of your videos, also they may still
Uniform
be
navy. Oh, yeah.
correct.
Absolutely.
So that was one thing, but also just going a little back that because of our unconventional background, because of the diversity we bring, it's comparatively a little easier for us to get into a good college as well.
Right.
Because say in IT, if there are 60 people from IT, then about 6,000 for sure would have applied, right?
Right.
We are maybe one or two, but we probably would have say 15 who would have applied or 20 who would have. So it's a little easy to get in. But once you get in, then there is a curiosity among others equally. What is he doing? What is he up to? And they can actually see through, because we are a lot more punctual, we are a lot more sincere, we are a lot more responsible, and that comes through as they speak to
and
you.
Also I would like to add, we are a lot more taken for granted also, because very upfront, honest with the words we are saying.
Absolutely.
Because at sea we cannot be like dishonest to ourselves. Also you'll kill someone.
Correct.
Right, sir?
Absolutely.
Right, absolutely. Yep. Okay, so those were the things also you faced, and in fact he was also mentioning this, that in the college rounds he used to think ki, oh no, 2 seats are reserved for merchant navy guys. I'm talking about big like IIM level colleges, but that's never the case.
No.
That's something I also wanted to bring up, that there are no reserved seats.
No,
for
not at
shipping
all.
professionals.
It's only on merit. It's only on merit. In my batch, I was the only mariner. In the batch before me, I guess we had 2. But generally, it's between 1 and 2. And I guess there has been one batch where there was no mariner. But there are no reserved seats.
Like that's something which I had to tell this on the show. Right, sir. Coming back to the point, sir, what were some of the skills, like we were discussing right now, punctuality, responsibility, all of that. What are some of the skills which you like inculcated during your sea time, which are still coming in handy while you are now ashore and of course now an entrepreneur?
Right. I think number one is I would say is adaptability. Different kind of work. You start as a cadet, you do all sorts of work, then you become captain, you talk to 100 different people.
Absolutely.
You have to make it happen, you know. So that's the number one skill, adaptability. Number two, and I think this is a trait which I learned while sailing, is that I know the goal. So I set a goal for myself and then I work backward. You know. So then I know that this is, and then I break it into small milestones and then I kind of go and reach towards it.
Like a passage plan.
Like a passage plan. Absolutely. Beautifully put it.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Third, of course, is being responsible. Right.
Yep.
And that responsibility of a bigger vessel,
ownership.
the ownership. And so one of the major differences when I compare us and in a way non-mariners is that we, if we are given a task, we will go back and report it's done or not done. And if it's not done, how much time will it take to do it?
Absolutely.
And over here, believe me, Karan, it's I mean, you have, as a manager, or you have to ask people
Every time.
10 times, what's the status? What's the status? What's the status? And that's not with
And you don't feel good about it also.
Absolutely.
Because that human element in us is also perhaps, I would not say more or less, but it is inbuilt because we need to take care of the shipmates with us.
Correct. Absolutely. And initially you are hesitant, you know.
Yeah.
The other person may feel bad about it. You know, why am I asking again?
Correct.
Should I be asking?
Correct.
And then you adapt to the new style of things
absolutely.
finally. But yeah, I think this is one thing which you really stand out.
Right.
So one more thing which one of my managers told me is that as mariners, we are very pithy, right? We are straightforward, but we are also very concise in what do we want or what do we want to convey.
Correct.
We don't beat around the bush.
Absolutely.
So it's not कि ये हुआ सर उसने ये बोला था तो मैंने ऐसा सोचा फिर मैंने ऐसा करके ऐसा मैंने उसको बोल दिया सर एज अ मरीनर नहीं हुआ या हो गया तो इतने टाइम में हो गया and that is what people want, right?
Correct. Perfect, sir. In fact, Vishesh, you were sitting here, we were discussing that that exactly this point that we as seafarers underestimate ourselves in a lot of cases, and we think that okay, this guy might be better than us. Like it would be a manager who's better than us, but the fact of the matter is the concise fact, which we, like you were saying, that is more required in every job place rather than just at sea.
Absolutely.
Right? And in fact, I was also wondering, sir, I've saved a lot of Europeans and people from developed nations. In my time, 4 or 5 officers have left after one contract. And I wanted to bring about this point that developed nations have already, the sailors have already moved past this just a sailing life and moved to better positions. Why do you think this is happening? And why do you think developing nations have not yet brought that awareness to general public? And what are possibly you doing about it, sir?
Sure. That's a very good question, Karan.
Right, sir.
And so what's happened is if you see the entire journey, how it moved is that mariners were typically, I mean, of course, India had in ancient times mariners, but in the modern era, it was generally the Europeans, the Scandinavians, where most of the maritime nation where all the mariners were from. But slowly, because of labor arbitrage, essentially, the sailing jobs moved to Asian countries, the developing countries, right? And then also because of work-life balance, because of family, because of various things, sailing was not found so remunerative, so influential, so something so aspirational for people over there.
Right.
So they moved out. But what also happened is that when they moved out, they sailed as one ship as say second officer or one ship as chief officer, and they were doing the job of marine superintendents, right? So that's how it happened, say from 80s to maybe 2000s, wherein the marine superintendents from developed nations were initially master mariners, but then they become junior officers or engineers who were doing the superintendency work. Over here, the seafarers kept on increasing, but because of good remuneration, people kept on sailing. And also because they did not know what else they could do, right? And our seniors, if you see, most of the opportunities were not in India. Slowly, because of labor arbitrage, slowly because of the value which we add to the whole industry, the whole geography, various people, companies saw that Indians have been doing it in different industries.
Okay.
They have been very successful.
Right.
Why? And honestly, with the Indians who were also then started to go in, say Singapore, started to go in Europe, and started to do that work. And that's the kind of work which started to come to India. So initially, India on the shore side only had crewing jobs.
Just HR crewing and
nothing else. So basically, because of labor arbitrage, initially it was just the people who were manning the vessels or helping in manning the vessels. They were here till say about 2005, 8. That's essentially what was happening.
Also, sir, I want to ask, what is labor arbitrage?
Okay.
Yes.
It's essentially the cost of doing a work or the cost of a labor of a similar work is less in one country as opposed to other.
So like developing nations like India, Philippines,
correct,
the crew perhaps will get little less salary for the same work than in a developed nation like Europe.
So not little, a lot less.
I know, sir, but like just to be little subtle about it. But that's the fact.
Correct.
That's a fact. Correct. So that's why, like, sorry, you were continuing. So I just wanted to understand labor arbitrage for the audience also.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right, sir.
So initially, say till about 2007, 8, it was only the crewing jobs which were in India.
Right.
Slowly and steadily, we saw a lot of companies and because of invent of various rules and regulations, the role of say marine superintendent, vetting superintendent, your roving superintendent, training superintendent started to come in India. So that happened from say 2008 till say about 2015, 16.
Okay.
And that's the time when little bit of commercial ops also started to come in India.
Okay.
And then now if you see, there are a lot of and then commercial ops started to come from 2015, but it was mostly the back end, the support one.
Got it.
But now if you see, a lot of brokering houses are also there. So if you see, there is a shift happening from the developed nations to the developing nations, wherein it was just because of labor arbitrage wherein India was preferred, but now it's not just the labor arbitrage.
It's now the skills also.
It's the skill. It's the value which we bring, right? Because these are high-end work,
Absolutely,
managing a vessel, we know the amounts involved, right?
Right.
So managing that from India is now increasing.
Okay.
Now, in fact, there is a need for a lot of good staff, mariners to come ashore. At any point of time, sea and beyond would honestly have about 70 to 80 requirements of mariners wanting to take a shore job in India or outside India. So that's
already
a big amount if you look at it.
So I have a list here. Yesterday we were researching. The list has 6 key points which you have more or less experienced all of them. We'll try to decode each one of them.
Sure.
But first I want to ask you something, because on the last note which you said, what are the most common jobs right now which seafarers seek after the sailing period is over?
Right. I think the most important or the most aspirational job is commercial shipping. I'm not sure how many people understand commercial shipping, but that's the most aspirational job.
And I have personally attended a course from you which was about the basics of commercial shipping. I thought, okay, let me just understand it. Then I realized it's not what we thought. It is much more, and it is not easy. It's complex, and you require a lot of skills.
Absolutely.
Right? And we're going to decode that, sir. But the most common job right now is people are seeking for is commercial, not operations, commercial shipping.
Yeah, commercial shipping. Once we decode it further, and then people understand, what you want to go into prefix, they want to go into postfix, they want to get into operations. There are different things to it.
Absolutely. On that note, let's start with commercial shipping itself.
All right.
Just a basic of what is commercial shipping and why are people so enamored by it and what it is not.
Sure.
Yes.
Now, that's a good question, and I think it's very relevant to the current times.
Right, sir.
So essentially, it's commercial shipping is about managing the if I put it in a very layman is
Absolutely.
bhada of a vessel. Right,
And
it's
English,
the freight of a vessel.
Yeah,
the
it's
freight,
the freight.
the freight of a vessel is essentially how do you fix a vessel? How do you operate the vessel after it is fixed? Right.
Okay.
Why is this aspirational? Is because a person who is doing it, fixing a vessel, the person calls the shots.
Okay. So, like, suppose I am fixing a vessel from A to B with the goods, which perhaps is chartered by someone else, but I am right now the primary person who will do the who'll cover fixture.
Correct.
So I am the one who will make the decision.
Correct.
Okay. So that's a commercial manager. Or
Yeah. So that's a charterer essentially. Chartering manager is essentially the most aspirational one.
Okay. That's like the cream. If you want to reach
Correct.
the cream, that's the
Correct.
place to be in.
Correct.
Okay. But of course you must have to start from below.
Right.
So suppose today, as a second mate who has no license of higher grade, when I step in, what is the first job or not job? What not even rank? What will my job scope?
Okay. So first of all, you've got to decide which part of commercial shipping you want to be in. You want to be in prefix on the chartering side or broking side,
Okay.
or on the ops or postfix side. So
There are three sides to it also.
There are three sides to it. First of all, let's decode. I mean, a person has to decode it, and then I think if getting onto the prefix is probably more aspirational, much more remunerative,
Okay.
but extremely tough. And that's where people at a juniors level, at a second mate, at a third engineer level can get into.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I'll just tell you the problem statement in the industry right now, and while we are on it is companies, and there are maybe around 100 such commercial entities in India. They are looking for trained staff, not trained, but at least who understand what is commercial shipping, right? Basics, right? They don't find the relevant people.
Okay.
And thousands of people would like to get into this kind of role, and they don't know where do they upskill. And that's where C and Beyond came in.
Right.
And we launched our course on introduction of commercial shipping and advanced commercial shipping.
Okay.
It's a hybrid course wherein we do an online initial 36 hours of online course.
Right.
And then we take them to the commercial ops center of a company, wherein they see the live commercial cases, how it's handled, why it's handled, what can they do. This just opens up their mind.
Right, yeah.
Then then you understand whether it's for you or not. Right? And for example, we did this one course,
Okay.
and honestly, out of 20 people, 3 said we don't want to be in commercial shipping. And I was very glad,
Yeah.
because now you are clear what you don't want to do, right?
And like you said in the starting, that the most important thing was you didn't know you knew what you didn't want to do.
Absolutely. And as per one of my gurus in IIM Ahmedabad, strategy is about you knowing what you don't want to do.
Perfect. Right. I think this is the key phrase or key sentence for this podcast. But yes. Moving forward, sir. Yes.
So I'm happy that these 3 guys didn't want to get into commercial. Happy about it. Then once you think that you now want to take a step forward, then we launch. We have an advanced level commercial shipping course wherein we call companies.
Okay.
Now these companies come for recruitment.
Oh, fantastic.
And and what happens with the companies? The advantage to the companies is that they are not hiring basis 1 hour interview.
Okay.
We have a 3-day session in campus of Gujarat Maritime University.
Okay.
And wherein we call companies, they spend 1 day at least, talking to people. And it's not the interview happens, right? When you interact with the person, you understand the person a lot better, and then they can hire. So
Perfect,
so that's where we trying to make a difference in the industry as such, because there is this gap. People want to get into commercial shipping. Companies need good people. They are not able to get it.
And so exactly on that note, the placements, because everybody who's going to be watching this will always, it's Indian mentality and it's right mentality.
Absolutely.
The placement scope from doing these courses, how is that been so far, sir?
Okay. No, that's been great, honestly. What we promise is, right, that whosoever comes, we will give you a audience with the company, right? So all the people who came to the campus, they were given an audience with the company. Companies interviewed them. 5 companies came. They interviewed them. Because this course just ended, there are a few people who are still on the final stages of getting a job offer, a conversion. But at least what we can guarantee is that it's not that, when you apply, how do you apply typically? You find our company and you start sending
resume
CVs.
or something.
Right. But a couple of guys already got offers, but they didn't want to take that kind of offer. They wanted something else.
Higher.
But that'll happen. That's just a matter of time.
But yes, it's a good breakdown, like you talking about the 3 segments within it. And of course, commercial shipping is not just limited to this conversation. There's a lot involved. But for now, there is a role, and C and Beyond is doing that, helping you understand that whether you would like this or not.
Correct.
Perfect, sir.
That's sorry.
Yeah,
and
please.
This is where I want to make a difference, right? I want maritime professionals to take a well-informed professional decision. That is, if you know what you want to do, you will achieve it. The most difficult thing is people do not know what they want to do. We try and help them over there.
Fantastic. It's a great job, in fact. Next one I have in the list is marine surveying and insurance. Are you also dealing in that?
Absolutely.
What is it, sir?
All right. So essentially, in this, typically people who have more experience and have sailed at a more senior rank are generally preferred.
Like a chief mate or a second engineer?
At least at that level, or probably a master, and I'm talking about, or a chief engineer, and I'm talking about the good surveys, right? You're not looking at the draft survey, or you're not looking at a bunker survey. You're looking at the hull and machinery survey, the P&I surveys, which are done. So essentially, these surveys are done to assess the vessel, assess the vessel from different points of view. Assess the vessel from, maybe if you're buying a vessel, so sale and purchase. If you are a classification surveyor, just if you want to class the vessel. If you are a owner, then you want to assess it, how the manager is doing. If you're a manager, then you want to see, whether whatever you've told the ship's crew, that's happening. So, and of course, if you're an insurer, then you again want to do a survey. So all of these kind of surveys are there. And again, what is also happening in this is that most of these surveys were done from people in the developed nations. And this is moving a lot towards India. There are a lot of companies in India which are now doing it. In some cases, it's still a little fragmented. So there are, one master has started, another master has started this, but essentially there are companies, and these companies are growing, wherein, they are now outsourcing or taking all the survey needs for bigger organizations, and in India they are able to do it very well.
So, like, do you have like a hub of all these, like you said, masters perhaps doing it as a new venture? Where do we get the information that who is this master doing it? Is there some kind of a hub or a area where we can search if we want to get into surveying and insurance?
Absolutely. So here's what C and Beyond has done is, first of all, if you want to get into surveying, right? We have at least 10 to 15 surveyors and very senior surveyors who are on our panel. So you can talk to them and understand whether this is a field for you or not. And why I'm saying this is because in this field, you may be on the road, I mean on the ship most of the time. So, and some like it, some may not like it. It's a individual contributor role, which means that it's you may not be managing a team, may not be living a corporate life, but that's what I want the person to understand first.
Yep.
Is the person okay with this kind of life wherein a person may have to travel say 100 days a year?
Yep.
Individual contributor role, but whatever the other days he's on his own, that's and the biggest thing is that a person doesn't have to relocate to Bombay, Delhi,
Got it,
Chennai. So you are in wherever you are from, Chandigarh,
Absolutely.
and
Yes,
just
yes.
stay
there, yeah.
Stay there and then keep on doing this work. So now, first of all, identify. Now, what companies come to us is C and Beyond is that we need a master or chief engineer to do this kind of survey for us.
Okay.
Would you have a person? And then we have a database of about 75,000 odd maritime professionals, and we kind of scout it for them, or we send the message out, and people who want to do the survey, they're then able to do it.
Okay, fantastic. So at least if I want to look at becoming a safety or insurance superintendent or someone, so I can directly contact your team and they can then tell me that there is a company looking, and then I approach them directly that this is what I want to do, and of course then the normal process and protocol.
Absolutely. And actually nowadays, adding on to it, it's not just about surveys, it's also VDR audits, for example.
Yep,
Right?
yep.
Now in these kind of work, you don't have to travel. You can do it from the comfort of your home.
Okay.
And nowadays, honestly, there are a few surveys which using technology,
Yes.
you can actually do it from in the comfort of your bedroom as well.
I mean, that's where I think we are all headed soon.
Absolutely.
Unmanned ships, they keep talking about. That's also a way of looking at it, that you are sitting in a big desktop with the ship's bridge visually and doing the commands. But yeah, okay, that's also possibility. Fantastic. So 2 things now. I'm also registering that. Third one we have is, which you have also done, data analytics and IT. So we all keep hearing not the hype, but it is actually coming, the IT boom and the technology coming forth, AI, all that buzzwords, everything.
Right.
What is it that a seafarer should look into? What is it that you have experienced, and what is it that you are now solving?
Sure.
Yes.
So now I had no inclination towards technology till the time I got a job with IBM. To be very honest.
Okay. Yes.
And I was a little hesitant when I got the offer, but then as I said, they're gonna teach me, they're gonna pay me. Why not take the job?
Absolutely.
So first 3 months in the job, I was actually the executive assistant to the CIO of a fairly big Indian company.
Right.
And I was actually taking notes. I was doing whatever, and I was a master, and I was a director in a company before that.
Yeah.
So I did that for 3 months.
Right.
But after 3 months, I was managing a fairly big analytics project for that company.
Okay.
Right. So the point that I'm trying to make is that it's not rocket science, right? At our level, at a marine, as a sailor, at a maritime professional level, companies will not expect us to do coding.
Right.
We are expected to understand what the IT professional does, work with them at certain levels, if at your senior level, guide them on what is to be done, test what is being done, and then market it.
Okay.
That's the scope of in maritime technology of a mariner.
Marina.
Right?
So you don't need to learn coding to
you don't need to learn
come in the IT profession.
Not at all. But what I strongly urge people to do is, and this is, I think everyone should be doing, is understand the various technology available, right? There are enough and more free courses available online about each technology.
Absolutely.
So take a, say, 20-hour course on IoT, take one on blockchain, take one on data analysis, take one on whatever, Python, take these courses and understand what is it that you like, right? If you don't have that time, my suggestion is that focus on data analysis.
Okay.
That's simplest thing, but this is what is happening, I'm forgetting the numbers, but there are about trillions of data which is coming from the ship.
Right.
And what companies need is us to make sense of this data by analyzing and give meaningful output.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, if we understand data analysis, we can really add a lot of value. And companies need, I mean, the most relevant skill that a company needs from us is, is that a person who understands shipping and a person who understands a bit about, data analysis, what can happen if an IT guy, if a coder does this.
Okay.
So then they can work together very well. So I see, I know at least 3 or 4 mariners who are working as product managers. Very, very good role, very successful role.
So is it like, I'm like very, very outdated in this, but just putting it as a layman, is it like catching the trend from the data and then giving a relevant idea or a actionable step that, hey, this is what the trend is showing. Like I YouTube analytics, which I keep decoding. So that, and then giving an actionable output that, hey, this video has worked well because the graph is showing this, the viewership is coming from here.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And this is something which an IT guy will never be able to do. Because for that person to understand what is port starboard, what is bunker, what is HFO, LFO,
fantastic. Absolutely.
They will never be able to understand.
Right. In fact, yes, Vishesh and I were discussing this. Now I remember that we need shippies inside the shipping companies, like back end, so that the relatability is high. Even if an HR is there and if he's a seafarer, he'll have more understanding of, hey, why this guy is not being able to, sign off on time or sign on time. That kind of empathy also comes in.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And in fact, I personally, not a personal objective, but one of the objectives for me as a team is also to get shippies, like similar. Shippies should be centered exactly in back end of shipping operations as well. Correct. Because, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. They will do a better job than a qualified person in that field, because we can train, adapt, learn, like you said, and have more relatability to the operation or perhaps mission being conducted.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And just to address this, what CN Beyond has done is we have our course on, and this is a very simple course on advanced Excel and Power BI. A very simple course, but what it does is, it's a 6-week course. I mean, 6 sessions over weekends, 12 sessions actually over weekends. But what it does is, it helps you to understand, gauge whether this data analysis is for you or not. Again, helping you to take a well-informed decision.
Beautiful. Yeah.
In the meanwhile, we give you projects which are maritime focused, right? So basically, we give you a project on cargo which has been going from point A to point B over past 40 years. And there's not point A to B, but B to C, C to D, X to Y. So about 40 such points, and then make a trend out of it. Tell us, make a presentation. What do you think this means, and what is the actionable thing? So when you do this kind of projects and then you show it to the company, and companies like, wow, he's at least inclined. He's done the first step, and in fact, we recently placed a person in a very big company in the voyage analyst role who recently did this project and the course from us. So
fantastic.
So that's
so it gives a kind of a sense for the person also that, hey, this is something I like, and it is giving a tangible output also, and which is relevant for the company.
Absolutely.
And then the compounding starts of perhaps that particular segment.
Correct.
In fact, beautifully done, so that you, again, the statement that you are making a person realize what he doesn't want to do.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Correct.
That gets me to the next one, which is, again, a lot of people ask me only, what is the role of a maritime lawyer? Yeah, and supply chain things. But first, let's crack about maritime law.
Right.
I mean, is it still not relevant, but is it still coming up in India, or is it still a developed nations thing to go about?
Yeah, so actually, it's coming up in India in a big way.
Okay.
But again, on maritime law, a person, the key traits which a person needs to have is a little bit of research oriented, little bit of studious, right?
Can't imagine, sir. Like this 5 years of LLB they do.
Oh,
And
absolutely. No, but actually, if you do it outside India,
okay.
you don't have to do LLB. You can directly do a master's in law, master's in maritime law. And another myth which I just want to break is that if you do a maritime law, you will in all likelihood not be practicing law.
Okay.
But what you would be doing is resolving the conflicts happening in the maritime world, and I'm talking about mariners,
Right.
through your corporate, either your own entity or the company whom you are working with.
Got it.
So get into arbitration. So most of the lawyers, maritime lawyers, initially get into this space.
Okay.
And then later on, if they feel that they want to actually practice law, then in India, they have to then do their LLB.
Converted, right, sir?
No, not convert. They'll have to still do their. In India, you have to do LLB to practice.
5
law.
years.
Yeah, you have to do it. But I mean, as mariners,
I think it's
you generally in maritime world, cases don't go to the court of law. It's generally solved through arbitration.
Got it.
And and the other thing which law does is, and a marine superintendent actually, we had a discussion about 3 years back, and I met him in Dubai last year actually, 3 months back.
Right.
And what he told me, and what I absolutely, and he actually thanked me that I had informed him that what the major thing that happens when you learn law is the way you see a particular email.
Okay.
The way you decode it, the way you now want to reply it, that your mindset changes.
I mean, what I am relating to it, like suppose I send an email as a second mate for a product, for a LSA equipment which I require. So the chief mate will again check it that, these particular sentences and all.
Correct.
That you're saying on a very higher level of this involves cost, money, lives.
Correct.
So that kind of a thing, you need to have that kind of a sense.
Correct.
Oh. So I personally think maritime law then is again, you'll have to go out, and that's the hard reality.
Absolutely.
There's no
at Sea and Beyond, what we have done is we have partnered to at least 4 universities, and these are top colleges in UK which do maritime law, and of course Gujarat Maritime University in India. So if you're a fresher, actually GMU is probably better. If you're just a graduate, then GMU is better. But if you are a professional who has experience, about 3 to 5 years of experience, then actually going outside is better. And so we again try and ask you why law.
Absolutely.
What is your motivation? Can you study? Have you done that kind of studies before? And if you have done it before, maybe it is for you. Maybe you should look at going for it. But be aware, again, for law, one downside is that you will not get immediate returns.
So what is the salary of a fresher coming out of a maritime
so the
law?
salary may not be very high, honestly. So it's like a doctor's job. You, as a doctor, you start as a assistant to a big doctor, and then
comes after 30, 35.
Correct.
Get the real returns.
Then you go on your own practice if you want to go. But I for example, I know a friend of mine who's a maritime lawyer in UK. He charges £800 per hour.
Oof, 800, almost 80,000 rupees per hour.
90,000.
Maybe 90,000
rupees an hour. Right, that's his going rate. And so I mean, that's the level that you can get.
But people don't realize, that's why we decode that it will take perhaps 8 to 10 years.
Correct.
Practicing, learning, and then charging something like that.
Correct.
So on that note, so is it like, now I see, would you advise, just a general understanding, a seafarer who's like 27, 28, third mate, second mate, or second engineer, third engineer, to shift to law and pursue it outside or in India? Like generally what you have understood.
To each himself. So,
Yes.
But on generally, I would say if you want to do law at that age, it's outside India. And honestly, UK is the only place
Right.
where you could do a maritime law, and we can absolutely guide you on how to go about doing it.
So a fresher would be a better, like a just a graduate out of a pre-C college, and then perhaps he got the knack that law would be a better place to be in to start.
Yeah, if you are say just a fresh graduate, then you could do any law, right?
Okay.
But if you've gone 2, 3, 4 years, your sailing experience
Got it.
is very, very valuable. Then when you get into the maritime,
Then it's
then you've seen a ship, you've been on the ship, and otherwise there are so many maritime lawyers who don't know, what
No
a ship
idea.
is, what a cargo is.
So many of them. And so, sorry, one thing I remembered, the fees of getting into these firms, like not even firms, colleges, a rough estimate how much capital you will need.
So you'll be very surprised, Karan, that the fees outside India is not a lot different than what is in India. So, for example, I'll tell you, this is in 2016 when I did my MBA, I paid almost 30 lakhs for a 1-year course.
Right.
Right. And these specialized maritime courses in France, you can do this in about 14 lakhs.
Oh.
In UK, it's from 15 lakhs to 30 lakhs depending on the course. In Dubai, it's a fantastic course on port management, which is at about 20 lakhs odd. In Cyprus, if you do a distance learning course, that's about 8 to 10 lakhs.
Right.
So the course fees and these are beautiful courses ranked in the top 10 in the world.
Okay.
The fees is not high, it's just the awareness is not there about these courses. Yeah. So if you have that awareness, and I personally feel that the probability of success of a maritime professional is much higher when you do these kind of courses rather than doing a generic MBA.
Fantastic. That let's lead on to MBAs then, sir. I was keeping it for the last because every Tom, Dick, and Harry will say MBA kar lete hain. Let's do an MBA. But tell us, sir, as a shippy, is MBA still relevant if you want to stay in shipping, or is it handy if you want to switch totally from shipping to an outside sector?
Right. So MBA to most people, they feel it's the panacea. आपने MBA कर लिया तो आपकी जिंदगी बन गई. So they feel MBA is their aim, not as part of their journey. So that's why one should not do that way, right? Now, whether a MBA is for you or not, I think the first question that you should ask is, do you want to stay in shipping or not? If you want to stay in shipping, my suggestion is don't do MBA. Right now, shipping doesn't recognize MBA a lot, although that's changing slowly, very slowly, but shipping doesn't recognize MBA. You look at any, I mean, managing director of a company who has become a CEO of a company who has become that because of an MBA. No, he's become that because of a certain sailing experience. MBA that person would have done is from a distance learning or
I saw that on many LinkedIn profiles and I was very shocked. It's all distance learned MBAs.
Correct.
And they are all MDs and general managers. And then after like 10 years from the short transition, then they did an MBA.
Correct.
That's why I wanted to bring this point up.
Correct. No, so if you want to do MBA, then first is if you want to, and I'm talking about full-time courses right now, not the distance learning.
Right,
ones,
absolutely.
The full-time courses, if you want to do a full-time MBA, if you want to stay in shipping, do not go for an MBA.
Okay.
If you want to leave shipping, then absolutely MBA is the best thing to do. But then do take the colleges which are say in the top 10, top 15 colleges in whatever geography you want to be in.
Anyone you want to name, anything like just for people to aim for?
Right. So see, I would say if you are less than 30, you can go for SP Jain, you can go for Narottam Morarji, you can go for, IIM, say Lucknow, you can go for IIM, not Calcutta, but I mean, you can go for one level below the top colleges, right? But as your age increases, I would strongly suggest then do not look at, these are not tier 2 MBA colleges, but do not look at outside the top 7 colleges.
Got it.
Then look at colleges. IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. These are the top 3 ones.
Right.
ISB fourth, and then you should be looking at only these kind of colleges.
So also, sir, when you do these MBAs, what is the chance of getting into supply chain and logistics of companies like Amazon and Flipkart and all this? Do mariners get a preference there by any chance?
They do.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Okay.
So, in fact, I know a lot of merchant navy professionals and also a lot of defense guy folks
Okay.
who get preference, and Amazon, Flipkart, DHL, Blue Dart, all of these companies have a lot of cargo courier companies also, DTDC. I know mariners who are working there at a decent level.
Packages. And okay, so basically, just a personal perspective, if I go for an MBA tomorrow, I should look for a supply chain logistics kind of a thing. It will be much easier, not easy, but much easier relatively to get into that.
Okay. No, actually, if you want to get into supply chain logistics, then there are specialized courses for that.
Okay. I think,
which is what I would suggest. If you want to do an MBA, then go for then do not think about supply. Then just keep your mind open. Go for, I think technology is the space. Product manager role is where you could get into, or a general manager role into, or a business development role into most of the companies.
Any segment,
any segment. Keep yourself open for it.
Absolutely.
Supply chain, I would suggest that there are beautiful courses which are only in supply chain. If that's where you want to go, get into those companies. There's colleges in France and CMA always, as soon as a mariner goes in those colleges, CMA comes, and this I know because the professor has told me that they go and tell the professor, mark that person for me.
Oh.
So the mariners are marked by big companies as soon as they get into a good,
I think so. We have to come to the course section. What do you think? Just pure, pure niche courses which we are talking about, some recommendations which you want to give, that these are the top 10 courses you should look at, but probably it will convert you into a shore-based job.
Sure.
Yes.
So I think no, there are 2 or 3 things over here. Number one is that unfortunately in now, whether you want to stay in India or go outside India, right? In India, for professionals with experience, about more than 4 or 5 years of experience, there are not many good courses into shipping, ports, logistics, supply chain. Right? Supply chain is a broader word, supply chain a couple, but ports, shipping, logistics, not many courses are there.
Okay.
Right? Now, so first, if you want to stay in India or outside India, right? If you want to go outside India, which is what I would suggest, because they have 40-year-old courses, 50-year-old courses, 60-year-old courses, which have been going on and at prominent port cities, right? So look at those courses. These courses are, for example, there's a course in France from a university which is ranked higher than IIM Ahmedabad worldwide.
Okay.
And which has a beautiful course into port management and logistics.
Oh,
right?
fantastic.
Take one of that. That's one good option.
Okay.
Then there is a course which is specifically, and I believe that's the best course for commercial shipping, which is in UK, the hub of commercial shipping in the world.
Okay.
That there's one course over there.
Okay.
Then you've got courses in Rotterdam, right? Beautiful course, and this is from a college which has given, I think, about 4 Nobel laureates.
Oh.
And that college has a course on maritime economics and logistics.
Okay.
Right? That's a beautiful course again. Then this is a newly launched course in Dubai. And I also feel that other than Europe, Middle East is coming up in a big way. Middle East and India, of course, are coming. And that's a good course in port management. And it is, in a way, co-sponsored, co-developed by a very big UAE company as well.
Okay.
So these are the courses which I would suggest that you do in outside India.
Like these are first targets you should keep in
Correct,
mind.
correct.
Specialized courses which can convert easily to a job.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Fantastic.
Now in India, and that's the reason why we launched these courses. What we are launching are certification courses.
Okay.
And these certification courses are 6-week courses or 12-week courses, which so you could do 3 of them together at different times within 5 years. You can do these. For example, we have already launched commercial shipping course. Now we're going to launch a course on digitization in maritime,
Okay.
followed by an AI in shipping,
Okay.
and then a course into maritime law. Again, these are certification courses.
Right.
So you do these 3 different courses within 5 years, and then you can get a diploma.
Okay.
Or we're looking at postgraduate diploma.
Okay.
So we feel that in India there's not many good courses. We are developing the courses at Sea and Beyond,
Yeah.
and hopefully we get them employed. We get them a degree from a renowned college,
Right.
and the progression which they want. So at that point, I just want to highlight is that Sea and Beyond is partnered to more than 150 companies worldwide,
Okay.
supporting them in their recruitment needs.
Fantastic.
So the goal when we are launching a course is that we know that companies are looking for certain skills. So commercial was one of them. That's why we launched the commercial roles. We know companies are looking for guys with technology, and that's why our course on technology is coming shortly. And we know there are needs which will come for the legal space as well. And that's the third course which will come into it. So we can then bridge the gap which the company and the candidates need.
And like you rightly pointed in the beginning that there are thousands of companies looking and there are not even 100 candidates who are available right now. So there's a lot of scope as it is for the people also watching to just you can say awareness, shape shift, start working. Fantastic. But now, sir, I'm going to come to the very hard hitting fact of shipping in India, particularly seafaring, I would say, not shipping. So many students get passed out from pre-C institutes, GP ratings, be it DNS, whatever. Then I guess 40, 50, 60% get placed and rest are sitting at home for like 1 or 2 years minimum. In that time, is Sea and Beyond perhaps looking into that aspect as well, that a fresher, because these are the people who need even greater guidance than a person who's already 28, 29. He has got little better common sense now. But they are just freshers, new student, new age students. How are you tackling that problem?
All right. See, the main aim of these guys is to find a vessel for themselves. That's the reason why they did this course. Honestly,
Absolutely.
right? Our core at Sea and Beyond is on the shore side of things, right? Now, one of the things where we can help and the persons whom we can support right now is if a person feels that a person is not wanting to go to sea, right? And wants to work on shore, we can absolutely support them. There is enough and more demand. There are freight forwarding companies, there are shipping companies. There is enough and more demand for them.
Right.
But the guys who are only looking at going to sea, I think perseverance is what they'll have to have right now. I wouldn't want at this point of time for them to spend an additional penny, which may or may not help, because I know they're already stressed, they're already waiting.
Yep.
So get your first ship through, get your if you want to get on the ship,
Right.
get that through, and then we start interacting more.
Absolutely. It's the unfortunate reality which
It is.
we all see. I'm sure you also must be getting queries, not from the officers, but from cadets. That's why this is happening. How big is this particular thing? Cadets coming into you for recruitment placement. I'm asking you because for me, they come for, okay, sir, I'm not getting a job, please help me. But of course, I cannot help. But for you, they see that C and beyond, fantastic. Maybe I come and get a recruitment package or something. How big it is, sir?
Okay. I think that way, I would say that a positioning or C and beyond is more or less fine, because we get many more inquiries from officers and engineers who want to transition ashore, and lesser queries from cadets who have not got a job. But
Got it.
that's still substantial. I on my inbox get about say about 5 to 7 inquiries a day, but many more inquiries from the already sailing people who are now wanting to upskill, wanting to just understand what can be done. Whether they want to do it or not, that's a separate thing.
But I asked you because, this is a burning question for seafaring and shipping community in India, because it gets a bad reputation already because of this.
Correct.
That then the scam and fraud, everything happens.
Correct. And I, whenever I get any suggestion, I mean, two things which I'm very clear is, please do not pay to an agent. And second is, I'm also very clear that we may not be the best people to support you right now, because I don't want to waste their time.
Absolutely.
Don't want to give any false hopes.
Absolutely.
And if and when we come up with the product, I'm sure people will come to us. But I think it's important to empathize at what stage they are.
Absolutely.
And this is for all. I mean, if you can help, we help, and they will still come back. In case you find something, please let us know. And I tell them I will, but looks a little
It's a bleak, That brings me to a very important point, sir. It's called soft skills. This is where I think a lot of jobs can be, converted by having the right soft skills.
Absolutely.
And this is not just limited to seafarers and engineers and officers. It's to all cadets and aspirants also perhaps watching this. How important soft skills, as you are in that department of, getting people also placed. Tell us how we can upskill that, and why is it so important to have that in the present situation?
Very good question, Karan. And I think this is where I think mariners lack a bit, right? Because presenting themselves in the best way, or in the industry standard way, right? We don't know that. For example, our CVs are essentially company forms. Mariner CVs are not
service.
CVs. Sea service, what they'll have is height, weight, passport, CDC, visa. And company is not bothered about all this. Company wants to know what have you done, right? So that's one thing which I would request all people to just look at. But coming back to the soft skills, I think communication skills, email etiquettes, for example. On ship we don't do any emails,
have
right?
that
We
also,
don't have that, right? And whomsoever we email are our friends, right?
Absolutely.
But over here in the corporate world, the first job you start to send 20 emails a day, right? and so and also what happens in our line of field is we are talking to 10 different nationalities also when we are ashore. So for example, I'll give you an example, and this is a person in Singapore who mentioned to me that it's a classic example that in their company an Indian was writing an email to say a Filipino or someone in Singapore, and in the email they would put exclamation signs, and just as a habit.
It's like WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's just
habit.
like what have you? How is it going?
Yes.
Exclamation sign. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
The other person would get offended, and for him or her, it's like it's questioning.
Yeah.
It's it's like
direct.
It's too direct. It's a little rude.
Rude.
And the person would not answer this guy. He will not, and this guy will again send an email, and he would not answer. And for them, it's rude to answer back and say that, what do you mean by this? Right? So that person wouldn't answer because of that, and that person wouldn't want to express his dissatisfaction with it. And this happened, and this is a live case, right?
Yep.
And this happened for a week, 10 days, and there's no communication happening. And this guy is like happily emailing what next, what next.
Yeah.
And then the manager came in, and then why have you not answered? Because of his exclamation sign. What does he mean? I don't. It's offensive to me.
Yeah.
And these are very small things, right? And So here in, for example, at C and Beyond, we have a course on email etiquettes.
Fantastic.
We have a course on communication skills, PowerPoint presentations. How do you make them? So the very basic stuff. But I mean, to get into the corporate side of things, to get into the shore side of things, these are some things which you should do. Companies take these courses from us as well.
Okay.
Because they would also and the main reason they do it is because we also take care of the international flavor, right? Multinational, people coming together for a common purpose. So we help them in that as well.
Fantastic. And I ask you this because that's something which I have also learned while doing my shore-based things, that how important is soft skills, speaking on the phone, emails, and pitching it to suppose a client, how important all of these things plays. And I think if you're already prepared, like you're saying that you have a course on it, it gives you one booster that yes, you might get a 80% more probable chance of getting something done.
Correct.
Absolutely, sir. I think so. We've covered so much. I have another section which I want to go very quickly, which is LinkedIn and mentorship. Please, in just a very brief summary, why LinkedIn has also become important and why mentorship is also one of the keys to success in any field.
All right.
Right, sir.
Two great questions. And one of the regrets that I have in my life is that I never took mentorship. I was one of the guys who used to think, कर लूंगा मैं, हो जाएगा, and just जो दिमाग में आया कर लिया, right? To point where my father also told me कि Gaurav, you're doing this, at least you should have consulted me or at least told me I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
And that's honestly my biggest regret. And now and when anyone comes to me for mentorship, I have so much more respect for that person because when you ask for a mentoring, you are essentially opening yourself
totally
open, right?
Yeah,
and then you ask questions. The mentor will ask certain personal questions because that's how you'll be able to give advice, right? So it takes a lot of courage.
Courage, that's the right word.
To be mentored as well, to open up to another person. So and this is the first service which C and Beyond started. Right?
Okay.
9 years back, when we launched C and Beyond, we did only mentoring for a year, wherein we have about 60 odd experts who, out of their want to give back to the industry, out of the empathy, out of the contribution they want to give to the industry, they are doing a mentoring, and people can avail this service. I myself mentor a lot of people, so that's why I feel. I mean, I think mentoring is important because it gives you the other person's perspective, but more importantly, what is in your mind, you are able to put it across in a certain way.
Yes, it's like going for a counseling session, and they are only getting out things from your head.
Correct.
And it makes you feel lighter and clear.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best kind of example which is coming in my head.
Correct. Absolutely.
And so on that note, LinkedIn also, I personally is a great tool.
Absolutely.
Now.
Absolutely. It is. Right? I think it is the place to be. A lot of mariners do not realize the importance of it. Very few mariners are there on LinkedIn.
Right.
But I think and the kind of information that you get is also fairly filtered. People are not
it's not dance videos.
Those kind of. It's fairly professional. It's an extremely good networking platform. So, for example, like when I went to Dubai, I just put in, I'll be in Dubai for a week in case anyone wants to come and meet me. And that's when I realized that, people knew me, people knew that what C and Beyond is, and I had actually 10 people whom I had actually spoken, I don't know, maybe 5 years back or never spoken, but they followed C and Beyond and they came to meet me. And I was like, amazing, yaar. This is the power of LinkedIn. So this is a great platform. I strongly, suggest everyone to be on LinkedIn. Just as a byproduct, because it's not very difficult to create a profile and to have an all-star profile. That's this thing.
Right.
But C and Beyond provides that service of building or evaluating your LinkedIn profile
Okay.
and or make your CVs as well.
Oh, fantastic.
So because those are gaps, we never thought we'll do it, but then people started to come as, what is LinkedIn and what do it? It's where you should be. So then we started to help them, support them into LinkedIn CV.
So suppose, sir, we are still sailing and we want to do courses on sea and beyond. Are there any ways in which we can perhaps have a offline based or a downloadable thing which we can perhaps look at even on the ship, something like that, if sea and beyond is covering?
All right. So Karan's good question. And what we have done is we are building a platform called Marined. Right.
Okay.
In this platform, we will have recorded courses.
Okay.
So a person who, you want to do a live course, of course, you can come and join our courses,
Right.
but schedule doesn't allow, you're on ship. So take up these courses, which you can see on the recorded version of these courses. So we have courses in commercial shipping. We have courses in your data analysis, and we are also launching a course for preparation of ICS exams. So Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers exams.
Okay.
So we are launching a tutorship on this, and this is first of a kind in the world. You will not have these kind of tutorships available anywhere else, which should be available by February 2025.
Okay.
So hopefully, so those are the things which you could check it out on Marined platform.
So where do we find this? It's on your website?
It's on our website. There's a tab called Marined, and which is where you could find.
I think so. You've covered a big dimension. It's like a portal now open for seafarers and engineers. In fact, even cadets who can start aspiring to do something. And it's a portal for us to know that what we don't want to do, and then get a lead, a perspective, a mentor, and shapeshift the career transition. This video I made keeping in mind one of my friends who wanted to do a transition. So I kept him, I like right now, I'm just projecting him right now, sitting in front, and I personally got lot of queries solved. You're doing a fabulous job, sir, and really thank you. Do you want to speak about something, or you want to give some advice or anything on your last, like the last note for ending this podcast?
Yeah, no, I think it's. I think two things over here. A lot of times we are confused. We need help. Seek help. Seek a mentorship. This is the first step of asking for a mentor. It's a little difficult if whenever you're asking the first time, but do seek help. Second is whenever you're transitioning, try and take as much as possible a well-informed decision. You should know what you will be doing when you get into it. Typically, mariners take whatever is the first available, wo le liya.
Yes.
Many a times it's successful, but a few times it's not. And वो few times जो नहीं होता है ना, उसकी वजह से mariners का नाम खराब होता है. Because I know a few companies who have hired mariners and they say लोग तो 3 महीने बाद छोड़ के चले जाते हैं और फिर उनको
Right.
क्यों लें? So that's the two things.
Capt. Gaurav,
Pleasure. Yeah.
thank you for being on the show. Like I said, my friend sitting as my friend shows, and already my queries have been solved. So thank you again for whatever you're doing. Sea and beyond is like a big thing. I know you do many other things, but eventually we'll get you back and decode those too. We also not covered on your entrepreneurial side of things, which I personally want to learn.
Gosh.
So fantastic, sir. Thank you so much, and looking forward to having you back again, sir.
Pleasure to be here, Karan, and you yourself are doing a great job.
Thank you.
A lot of people look at you, look up to you, and kudos to you, and wish you all the very best in your journey.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So that was Captain Gaurav on the KSN show. I hope you all understood there are so many things which one can do while doing your shipping job, and then slowly, changing your track into the shore job. Do let me know in the comment section if we have missed something, and we'll try to get Captain Gaurav again to decode that. Also, don't forget to drop in your comments and subscribe to the channel. See you back next week. Signing off, KSN.